Have you ever looked at your life and quietly wondered why nothing really changes, even though you keep saying you want more? Deep down, you know you're capable of growth, discipline, peace, and purpose, but somehow, you keep choosing what feels easy instead of what could transform you. That's the uncomfortable truth behind the message, you're too comfortable, and it shows. Not because you are weak. Not because you are broken. But because comfort can slowly become a trap that feels safe while quietly stealing your confidence, your momentum, and your future. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'll start tomorrow," only to repeat the same cycle again? Today, we're going to talk honestly about how emotional comfort, distraction, and avoidance keep people stuck, and how real emotional healing and discipline habits begin when you stop protecting the version of yourself that no longer serves you. A lot of people confuse comfort with peace because both feel quiet in the moment. But real peace usually helps you grow, while unhealthy comfort slowly keeps you the same. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to avoid difficult things by calling it protecting your energy? You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You avoid challenges because you're tired. You stay inside routines that feel emotionally safe. And slowly, your world becomes smaller without you realizing it. The dangerous thing about comfort is that it rarely feels harmful at first. It feels familiar, predictable, easy. But over time, it starts affecting your confidence, your motivation, and your sense of purpose. You stop pushing yourself mentally. You stop taking healthy risks. Even your emotional healing slows down because growth often requires uncomfortable honesty. Real change begins the moment you stop asking, "What feels easiest right now?" and start asking, "What will actually help me become stronger, calmer, and more disciplined in the long run?" One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is because they constantly negotiate with themselves. You promise yourself you'll wake up earlier, but then you convince yourself to sleep longer. You say you'll finally change your habits, but the moment discomfort appears, you delay it again. And after a while, those small compromises begin shaping your identity. Deep down, you start losing trust in your own words. Have you ever caught yourself feeling frustrated with your life while also knowing you keep avoiding the very things that could change it? That internal conflict drains people emotionally. The truth is, discipline habits are not built during moments of motivation. They are built during moments when comfort feels more attractive than growth. Every time you choose short-term relief over long-term progress, your future becomes weaker. But every time you follow through despite resistance, something inside you becomes stronger. Self-respect grows quietly through consistency. Not through perfection. Not through intense motivation. Through repeated decisions that prove you are serious about becoming the person you keep saying you want to be. A lot of people spend years thinking about change instead of actually changing. They overanalyze every decision, replay every possibility, and wait for the perfect moment to finally move forward. But overthinking creates a dangerous illusion. It feels productive while keeping you completely still. Have you ever noticed how mentally exhausted you feel after a day of worrying, planning, and imagining outcomes without taking a single real step? That exhaustion is real because your mind is carrying the pressure of unfinished action. Deep down, you already know what needs to change in your life. You know which habits are hurting your peace. You know where fear has become your comfort zone. But thinking feels safer than trying because action brings uncertainty. Action can expose failure, rejection, or discomfort. Still, nothing changes while you stay trapped inside endless mental preparation. Growth begins when you stop treating uncertainty like danger. Discipline habits are often built by people who felt afraid, unsure, and unprepared, but acted anyway because staying stuck became more painful than moving forward. Every time you repeatedly ignore your own goals, your self-respect quietly weakens. Maybe nobody else notices it, but you do. You remember the promises you made to yourself. You remember the things you said you would finally change. And after enough broken promises, something inside you starts believing that your words no longer matter. That's why so many people feel emotionally disconnected from themselves. It's not always because life is hard. Sometimes it's because they stop trusting their own ability to follow through. Have you ever wondered why confident people often appear calmer? It's usually because they have built trust with themselves through consistent action. Self-respect grows when your behavior aligns with your values. Even small discipline choices begin repairing something internally. Waking up when you said you would. Finishing difficult tasks. Facing uncomfortable conversations instead of avoiding them. Those moments slowly rebuild emotional strength. Not instantly. Quietly. One honest decision at a time. Most people want growth, but very few people are willing to stay uncomfortable long enough to experience it. The beginning of change rarely feels exciting. It usually feels awkward, tiring, uncertain, and emotionally inconvenient. Have you ever started improving your habits and immediately felt resistance from your own mind? That resistance is normal. Your brain naturally prefers familiarity because familiarity feels safe. But staying emotionally safe all the time can quietly prevent you from becoming stronger. Real discipline habits are built when you continue despite discomfort, not when motivation feels high. Emotional healing also works this way. Sometimes healing means facing truths you avoided for years. Sometimes it means sitting with silence instead of distracting yourself constantly. Growth is uncomfortable because it stretches the version of you that has been living on autopilot. But over time, those difficult moments begin creating confidence, resilience, and peace within. You stop fearing discomfort because you realize it is not destroying you, it is reshaping you into someone more disciplined, emotionally mature, and mentally grounded. Many people feel lost not because they lack purpose, but because comfort has disconnected them from urgency. When every day becomes repetitive, emotionally easy, and distraction-filled, your deeper potential slowly becomes quieter. You stop challenging yourself. You stop pursuing meaningful goals consistently. And eventually, life begins feeling emotionally flat even when nothing is technically wrong. Have you ever noticed how alive you feel after accomplishing something difficult that you almost avoided? That feeling comes from growth. Human beings are not designed to live only for comfort and convenience. There is something deeply healing about effort, responsibility, and movement toward a meaningful direction. Purpose often returns the moment you stop waiting to feel inspired and start acting with discipline anyway. Even small consistent actions can reconnect you with yourself again. A morning routine. A healthier habit. A difficult conversation. A commitment you finally keep. Sometimes the peace you are searching for does not come from escaping pressure. Sometimes it comes from finally becoming the person you know you are capable of being. A lot of people become harsh toward themselves the moment they realize they've been avoiding growth. They start feeling shame instead of awareness. But shame rarely creates lasting change. It usually creates more avoidance. Real emotional healing begins when you can look honestly at your habits without believing you are hopeless because of them. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, maybe I've wasted too much time already? That mindset keeps people trapped because it turns self-reflection into self-punishment. The truth is, responsibility is not about attacking yourself. It's about finally becoming honest with yourself. You can admit that comfort has been controlling parts of your life without losing compassion for who you are. You can recognize unhealthy patterns while still believing you deserve peace, growth, and another chance. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are the ones who stop lying to themselves about the struggle. The moment you take responsibility calmly instead of emotionally running from discomfort, something inside you begins healing because honesty removes confusion and gives you direction again. Most people misunderstand discipline completely. They think discipline means becoming cold, robotic, or obsessed with productivity. But real discipline is actually a form of self-respect. It's choosing what protects your future instead of what only comforts you temporarily. Have you ever noticed how peaceful disciplined people often seem? It's not because their lives are easier. It's because they trust themselves. They know they can rely on their own decisions even when emotions fluctuate. That kind of trust creates emotional stability. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about repeated alignment. Choosing growth when avoidance feels easier. Choosing honesty when excuses feel safer. Choosing consistency when motivation disappears. Every disciplined action quietly changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who only talks about change. You become someone who follows through. And over time, that consistency builds confidence naturally. Not loud confidence. Calm confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you no longer abandon yourself every time life becomes uncomfortable. If this message spoke to you, remember this: you're too comfortable, and it shows is not meant to shame you. It's meant to wake you up. Your future is still being shaped by the choices you make today. You are not trapped in old habits forever. You are not disqualified because you lost momentum. Growth can begin again right now, one honest decision at a time. Share your thoughts below. How are you healing today? And if you're ready to build more discipline, emotional healing, inner peace, and self-respect, stay connected with Motivation and Healing for more conversations that strengthen both your heart and your mind.